Hello, welcome back to Space Engineers. In today's video, we're looking at another large cargo ship, and this one is called the Atlas 610, which is this lovely thing over here. So this is a very large survival-ready ship that features a bunch of cargo pods on the side. As you can see in this lovely light blue colouring, they've got a large cargo container inside them, parachute hatch on top so you can just throw them out our planet and have them land down onto the ground. Below them they've got magnetic plates, so when they do land on the ground, they just clamp themselves in place, and they've got a dual connection system on this ship in the form of a merge block to hold them in place properly, and they're connected to make sure they're connected up to the main body of the ship so you can move stuff to and from each container. And of course, sitting right next to it is a small companion ship. It does not come with this blueprint, but you have to download it separately. It is listed on the Steam Workshop page, but this is the Atlas pod carrier, which is how you're going to attach these little pods onto the ship, because naturally if you were to disconnect it, it's going to be bloody difficult to actually connect it up. I've tried it several times before I started recording, and each time I just bash into the container and send them flying, because they do not have thrusters on there, they will not stabilise, they'll just keep flying away into the distance until I use this ship over here to come and collect them. But anyway, back over to this ship, because this is the main point of this video. We will come back to that little ship a bit later on to actually connect up one of these containers before I go throw them down to the planet. We're going to press F10, find it in spawn menu, then we're going to have a look around the outside, have a quick tour in the interior, because it does have a fairly big interior with a lot of stuff going on with it. Then we're going to play around with the containers. So the Atlas 610 is 1,335 large blocks using a bunch of the DLC packs. And right here is the blueprint for this little ship right here to connect up the pods, which would be a very good thing to download as well. So I'm going to give this thing a thumbs up, move around towards the very front, have a quick look around the outside, then we'll go from there, like I said. So for the very front of the Atlas, this is what we get. And as you can see, in the middle we've got two hydrogen thrusters, which is one of two thruster types that appear on the ship, with the other one being amsteric thrusters. Down below we've got a bunch of spotlights. Up and above there it's the top of our little walkway, where we just patrol along and make sure everything's fully connected up, as well as do some manual repair work if the containers or thrusters ever took damage. Then on the very left and right hand side, this is two of our 6 containers, which like I said contain a large cargo container inside it. We've got a connector on both sides, a merge block on one side to connect up to the ship, parachutes on top, a beacon to make sure we can always find it, and a magnetic plate down below to make sure when it lands down onto the ground, it doesn't roll away. Move around onto the side, there we go, there's a very clear view of our beacon, and then here's a bunch of our amsteric thrusters to really help us out on the planet when each of these containers are full up with cargo. Moving all the way across towards the back of everything. So this is the main section of the ship, which is going to feature all of our important internals, as well as our interior to go and walk around. We've also got some guns for a bit of defense for any kind of pesky drones or any kind of meteors coming towards you. We've got one gatling turret on both sides, then up on the main body we've got an interior turret for an extra bit of protection, and that is right above the doorway, so any kind of sneaky pirates trying to get inside the ship are going to be in for a rude awakening. Anyway, getting a bit closer over here, we see our walkway comes all the way down from that doorway, then all the way around the ship, all the way towards the front, where we can do, like I said earlier, and we'll just do some repair work, which is help guide up the small ship to move the pods into the correct position without damaging anything on the ship or the pods themselves. And we're putting back over to here, around towards the back. Here we go. So we've got 2 large hydrogen thrusters to boost us around. We've got a small antenna, we've got a small beacon, as well as a small connector. Now this is my only complaint about this ship, is this connector right here. It's not connected up to a piston. This is what you get, but because of the antenna right next to it, it makes it bloody difficult to connect up to this ship unless you do have a piston system on the ship connecting up to this. Yes, that's going to be in the way. It might be a good idea to remove it and put it elsewhere. Anyway, moving all the way up slightly, turning on my light, here we go. So we see our little walkway that comes all the way across to here, so we can micromanage who's connecting up to this. And there's a bunch of window blocks so we can peer inside at our small interior. Come at that a bit later. Moving all the way up and looking down, so we've got parachute hatches on both sides. You can see our hydrogen thrusters move us down. It very clearly looks at our interior, with 2 air vents and a gravity generator, among other things. Then towards the front here, we've got some solar panels for some renewable power. Then over to here, we've got a very clear view of our container systems, how they've been connected up, parachute hatch on top. And yes, here we are. So we've got ourselves our connector. Onto this section is your merge block. Coming back down, there we go. We can just about make out green where it's been connected up. Pushing the camera all the way through this container. Here we go. So there is the actual container itself. Then all the way up to here. There we go. Anyway, all the way across, there's some more interior turrets for a bit more extra defense from the pesky drones that could come and ruin your day with this vehicle. Then all the way across towards the front there we go, there's the end of our catwalks, and there's our spotlights just shooting out the very front. Moving down underneath this thing, here we go, so we can see one hell of a lot of magnetic plates. for each of our containers, there's a bonfire large atmospheric thrusters, make sure this thing can fly in the atmosphere, a bunch more hydrogen thrusters, make sure you can pull out and up into space, and of course all of our conveyors that link across over to those connectors, make sure you can move the stuff in those cargo pods to and from the vehicle. Anyway, towards the back there, even more hydrogen thrusters, one hell of a lot of hydrogen thrusters in all directions, a couple batteries here and there, a couple oxygen tanks, then all the way up to here, hidden behind some steel blocks, and then see 4 large hydrogen tanks, which should be good enough for your long adventures. And of course there's your gyroscopes to move this thing around. And with that, that's a very brief look around the outside of the Atlas, and it's bloody fantastic with how it's all been set up. It's a very nice design, and should be very useful in survival mode if you want to do long distance trading, because what you could do is go up to a space station, load up all the cargoes, or even just go over to your base, manufacture a bunch of stuff, and then when you want to go down to a planet to use a ground trading post, you just drop the containers into the general area, and have the small ship go all the way down, and move it up to the station, connect it up, and do your trading that way. See if you're taking this whole vehicle all the way down to the planet, and will risk slamming into it if you say running low on fuel, or running low on power. With that, I'm going to grab hold of my character, I'm going to start all the way up to here, at the very front of the vehicle. Here we go. Just looking around here, this is what we get. So we get a very clear view of all of our containers, very clear view of all of our interior turrets, and it looks like there is a meteor storm incoming, because I just about heard the message. We're having a little look around here. Anything going on? I don't think so. They might pop in a second, but we'll soon find out when all the turrets start to fire. Anyway, there goes all the turrets that now are actually firing, and I'm not too sure where those meteors actually are. With the free camera, what's going on? Oh, there they are. They're coming at me from the side. How odd is that? Anyway, back into here, moving all the way across, down to this section, so come all the way up to these interior turrets, manually load ammunition if we need to, and there goes some more asteroids or meteors above us. Anyway, walking all the way past this section, onto here we go, past our solar panels, round to this section, all the way past and up these steps, down these steps, ignoring the doorway, here we go, and here we are at the very back, and there we are. Anyway, back up these steps, coming on the inside, past this little interior turret, did very good work against those meteors, and then closing up the doorway. And this is what we get. So it's a very small interior, but it's very jam-packed with all the stuff we need in our adventure. So like we saw earlier, there's our air vents, there's our gravity generator. On the left and right hand side, we've then got cryopods. At the very back of this thing, next to this lovely little viewing section, we've got some seats to sit on for all your passengers. Then walking towards the front here we go. We've got another seat on the side. This side we've got a programmable block with a subgrid thruster script. Not too sure what this script is actually doing, because when I was looking around the outside, I couldn't see anything that would actually utilize this script, but it's there, I'm sure it's doing something important. Anyway, towards the front, we've got a bunch of little seats going. We've got this seat over here, which has got some basic controls for our turrets. We now manually control them and blast anything nearby. To the opposite side, how we're going to disconnect our containers. So we've got number 1 to undo our merge blocks, we've got number 2 to undo our connectors. So when we were to pull this away, which we can't do from this seat, is well, leave the cargo containers behind. So hopping out of this, coming to this one will also not be able to control it, because we've got a bunch of important controls, such as your connectors, your batteries, your spotlights, and your thrusters, which you've got the same controls in this one right here, which is your main control seat, which, well, it will allow us to move away and leave those containers behind. There we go. But yes, for a quick demonstration before they start to wander away and get lost in space, we're going to hop out of this, come all the way back to that doorway, open this up, all the way down, find that little ship, and we're now going to move one back into place. So down into here, hopping into this cockpit, here we go. So we basically just drive all the way up to this, connect out to that magnetic plate on the front, using the camera, pressing number 7, around like so, make sure we're nice and flat onto it. There we go. Now just driving all the way up to it. We're going to clip through this battery, and there we are, we're now fully connected up. In the third person view, we now just move this all the way up, come over to the ship, and hopefully just line this up nice and carefully. And here we are. It's a bit hard to control, it's very front heavy once you're connected up. I'm just going to keep going forwards. And we should hopefully get a nice little clonk. There we are, we're now just about ready, pushing it forward so the merge blocks connect. Now we can hop out of this, come back into the seats, and I'll actually fully connect it up once again. So land myself down through the doorways over to this seat right here, pressing number 1, pressing number 2, we are now fully connected up and can drive this thing away, leaving that ship behind and leaving all the other containers behind to be connected up another day. And there we go with that. I suppose what I can do is now just delete this thing and spawn in the brand new one. So into here, typing in Atlas, there we go, copying that, dropping it down, and here we go one more time. So properly coming inside into the helm, here we go, these are the actual controls for the ship. So So number one is going to be for our connectors, but only the one at the back of the ship. It will not affect the pods on the side. That's for that dedicated seat on the side to control. Make sure you don't accidentally press number one and will lose all your cargo. Number two is then for your batteries to auto or recharge. Number three is for the spotlights at the front, turn them on and off. Four is then for your interior lights all around the ship, turn them on and off. And you can see there we lose our glow at the very top there, so now we're nice and stealthy, and now everyone can see us. Number 5 and number 6 for your atmospheric thrusters and hydrogen thrusters, turn them on and off all the way around the ship. And then number 8 and number 9 is for your gyroscopes, to manually adjust them to your pleasing. So now we just put them all the way down. There we go, when we start to move this thing around, we're going to be very, very heavy. Putting them all the way up, we now got a lot more control. Onto tab number 2, we've got our hydrogen tanks, oxygen tanks, O2 H2 generators, our nuclear reactors, and our parachutes to manually open and close them, and to set them to auto deploy on or off. We once again controls for our interior lights to switch them on and off. This is going to be for our back of the ship where you just about make out the interior here, so moving the camera, pressing it again, they go get slightly dark and slightly brighter. Onto tab number 3, we've got our turrets to turn them on and off. So if you say had an enemy container they want to steal with the ship, you want to make sure you turn off the turrets to make sure you don't accidentally start blasting into them, and while ruining all the cargo. Anyway, the camera is now being pushed away due to that container on top of us, so I think it's high time I move the ship and do a quick little thruster test. So moving away while empty, this is what we get, and as you can see we've got some nice speed thanks to 2 large hydrogen thrusters, but coming to a stop, we are a little bit slower, but it's not too bad. There's plenty of time for this thing to stop, but that will change when we fill this thing all the way up with cargo, but I'm not going to do that in this video. Anyway, doing a 180, here we come all the way around. We just about do this to make sure we can use those large hydrogen thrusters at the back. All the way around. I'm pretty sure it's going to stop for actually complete the turn. Yes, it is. And there we are. Anyway, moving left, moving right. We're a lot slower than forwards and backwards, but still pretty good for a cargo ship. The moving down, going to be about the same as moving left and right. But then moving up is going to be one hell of a lot faster than moving, well, in any other direction. Here we go. And there we are. That's one hell of a lot of speed, which is greatly needed when we're on a planet. And with that, that's pretty much it for the controls, what it looks like on the inside and out, what it can do. So I think it's time to play around with this thing on a planet and just drop off all the containers to see how they land down onto the ground. And here we are on the Earth-like planet. For a quick demonstration before we move on to the containers, is pressing number 5 to turn off our hydrogen thrusters. As you can see, despite having that many large atmospheric thrusters on this ship, it is not enough to keep this thing off the ground. We want to make sure they are turned on. However, turning off the atmospheric thrusters, we will not come down to the ground. They're still perfectly suitable at keeping us up off the ground until we start filling up those containers. So you want to make sure your hydrogen tanks are topped off for lifting off for cargo, to make sure you don't slam into the ground. But anyway, hopping out of this seat, coming all the way over to like so, into this one, and pressing number 1, pressing number 2, and hopefully, there we go, all the containers are now going to drop off. There we are with the free camera all the way down, and now just in unison, falling down to the ground. They should deploy all their parachutes automatically. And hopefully they will, maybe they will not. They're now getting close to the ground. Please deploy the parachutes. And they just slammed into the ground. Not too sure why they didn't deploy the parachutes after spawning the brand new one and actually fiddled around with the settings. So here we go one more time, press number 1, press number 2, and down goes all of our cargo pods to the ground. This time they would deploy the parachutes because I double checked to make sure they were active. So here they come all the way down. There goes the parachutes. And they're going to safely and softly land down onto the ground, which is what we're going to wait and see, so we see the magnet plates clamp them into position. And here they come. They're now approaching the ground, ready to lock into place, and ready for me to dive into those connectors and pull out stuff from the containers. So in about 3, 2, 1, a little bit off there, but there they are. They're now connected up and clamped into position. I can now jet back all the way up to here, come into here, and start to pull stuff out of the containers. So we now come into this section and just go and drag and drop stuff if we need to. And there we are, that's what the ship does, and looks bloody fantastic with how it does it. It's a lot of fun to use, especially these old cargo pods. I don't know why, they're very simple with what they do, but it's still a lot of fun just to drop them down to the ground and watch them deploy their parachutes and then just, well, float down to the ground. And with that, that's pretty much it for this video, all it has to offer. There'll be a link to its description below if you wish to download and play around yourself. Highly recommend you do. I'll be back with another video some point soon. Bye bye.